Hey everybody, I'm just going through my top 5 cards in Thundrik's Profiteers. I just received my expansion, so I'm looking at the 5 cards I think are most interesting, the ones that I think I'll see the most play, and the ones that I'm the most excited to use. These will be in no particular order, and I'm going to point out kind of the warbands that I think they fit well in, and the things that I'm excited about. So let's get started. Number 1, and this is a card I think I'll see a lot of action, is Calculated Risk. Score this immediately if a friendly fighter makes a move action through a lethal hex that damages them but doesn't take them out of action. Obviously, anytime you can score glory, first of all, immediately. Second of all, without interaction from your opponent, great. You can set this up at the start of the game by just playing a lethal board. There's plenty of warbands that are going to love this. Orcs are going to love it. I could see Godsworn liking this as its glory to upgrade right away. I feel like almost every deck, other than the very defensive ones, has a use for this, or Thorns of the Briar Queen, obviously, because they can't be hurt by lethal hexes. Really strong, it's pretty much a free glory if you have that card in hand, so I think that this is a card that's going to see a ton of play. Number 2 is a card I just think is very interesting and very hard to use, but could really shift the meta. Reaction, so it's a spell, you cast it on reaction. If you crit, cast a spell after an enemy fighter casts a spell. If this spell is cast, that fighter suffers a damage. They can no longer cast spells, and it persists until they're out of action. So this is a spell that your wizard can cast to effectively neuter another wizard on the table. Decks that are going to hate this are obviously Stormsire's Cursebreakers, being one of the strongest factions right now in the meta. I think that this is some very good anti-tech. Pretty hard to cast with that crit, but there's Well of Power and Thari's Guardians that'll help you get that crit up. I don't think this is a must-take. I think it'll depend on your local meta. And I know the crit is hard to roll, but it's a very strong spell to counter, how strong the wizard warbands are in the current meta. Number 3, trading up. Choose a friendly fighter with at least 1 upgrade. Discard 1 upgrade from that fighter and apply another upgrade to that fighter from your hand. I think a lot of the times in between rounds 1 and 2, there's a pressure to empty your power hand of upgrades to make sure that you're spending your unspent glory, and so that you can fill up your hand. So sometimes you're playing probably not the most effective upgrades, and then you draw them in the next hand and don't necessarily have enough glory for everything. I think this is a good way to mitigate that effect. Trading up allows you to mill an upgrade that may not be that helpful for something better without spending the glory. I think that Godsworn would really like this because you pretty much get another free upgrade, as much as it's something where you've already had to have an upgrade on someone. But I think it's really strong just for that economy of glory, where you don't have to feel pressured if you have a slow first hand, or in general a slow deck. Most Chosen Axes are very slow at gaining glory. This would allow you to make sure that you can have your best upgrades on your fighters at any point. This next one's a fun one. Crown of Avarice. Reaction: during an attack action or gambit that will take this fighter out of action, choose an opponent and take out for 1 of their unspent glory points. Now, obviously, they need to have unspent glory, and this would trigger before they get the glory for killing you. But I think it's really good for those fighters that get targeted early on. I brought Targor out because he's the generic dangle bro of the Reavers. But people like to kill the squigs before they can inspire. So giving somebody a reason to not kill your fighter is always a good option. It reminds me of Expendable for the Skaven, where, you can kill me, but this negative effect is happening. So I like that. I like the attack deterrent. So you can make them focus on your bigger target. Could even be good for, any warband where you're going to play my turn, or aggressive defense, those things, to force the attacks to go on your better fighters by disincentivizing your weaker guys. So I think it's really interesting. See how much it gets played, but that's number 4. And the last one, and this is a fun pick from me, is Master of Mayhem. Score this immediately when you use your warband's third action or card that says scatter in the same phase. I think it's really hard to find a good use for this. Generally, if you've scattered twice with Snurk in a phase, he's either in a great position and gotten kills, or he's completely on the other side of the map. So doing it a third time may not help you, but it might be worth it to take some spells for Zarbag and play around with this, especially if you've got some Snurk heavy tech in your deck. I think it's really fun. I think it plays into the chaos that is the Gits. I don't really see any other warband using this because you would need to stack, honestly, 3 spells or ploys in your hand, and you need to draw all of them or draw an upgrade that says scatter. So really, as of right now, that Snurk's the only character card that has scatter on him. It's really only useful in Gits. It probably won't be that great for Gits, but plays into that fun chaos. Anyway, let me know what you think. Let me know what are your favorite cards from the expansion in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.